While a big part of the country is bracing for some of the coldest weather we've seen in 2 decades, temperatures of 20 or 30 below zero could hit the Midwest before moving south and east. Our team has it covered tonight. We begin our coverage with NBC's Kevin Tibbles in Minneapolis, St. Paul. Kevin, good evening.
Carl, here in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and across much of the heartland, the National Weather Service is calling it a particularly dangerous situation. As the temperatures plummet, they're urging people to stay indoors and take precautions. It hasn't been this cold in decades.
We've never experienced weather this cold, ever.
An Arctic front sent temperatures plunging 30 to 50 degrees below average across the Midwest, leaving 25 states in temperatures 0 or lower. Unrelenting snow battered parts of the plains and Great Lakes. In Indiana, up to 2 inches of snow every hour throughout the day. Chicago saw 7 inches overnight, while Michigan got up to 10. The mayor of Indianapolis warning residents to stay indoors.
We will have temperatures that are potentially deadly or certainly life-altering.
The St. Louis fire chief asking residents to watch out for one another.
Pay attention to your neighbors, see what they need, and take care of them.
States are taking unprecedented measures to keep people out of the cold. For the first time in 17 years, classes at Minnesota public schools canceled. In St. Paul, parks and sledding hills closed. The elderly and the homeless are at the greatest risk, and emergency workers are on high alert to help the most vulnerable. Youth centers pressed to provide overnight stay to homeless kids afraid of sleeping in adult shelters.
The youth are here now from 8 p.m. until 8 a.m.
The frigid conditions have also paralyzed air travel. More than 3,000 flights canceled and another 6,000 delayed, clogging hubs like Denver, Chicago, even Florida. Boston's Logan Airport saying it'll take days to catch up. In New York, JFK Airport was shut down for hours after a plane skidded off an icy runway. Black ice being blamed for pileups in New York, Maryland, and Pennsylvania.
Cars are just spinning out. I mean, this is ridiculous.
But in Green Bay, the cold didn't keep tens of thousands of fans away from the Packers 49ers game.
Wisconsin natives is all we are. We can't help it.
The fans are ready, but it is going to be dangerously cold. 5 degrees at game time. It'll feel like minus 15, but the coldest air is still yet to come. Tomorrow, with the wind chill, it'll feel like 50 degrees below zero.
The Arctic blast is now headed east, where ice storm warnings have been issued in Virginia, Maryland, and D.C. With wind gusts topping 35 miles an hour, wind chills are dropping below 40 below zero. How cold is that? Well, the Smithsonian says that is colder than it is on Mars. And Mars is a lot further away from the sun than we are. Carl?
Kevin Tibbles in Minneapolis, St. Paul. Kevin, thanks. Weather Channel meteorologist Mike Seidel is in Indianapolis, where it's been snowing for more than 12 hours. Mike?
Good evening, Carl. We found nearly a foot of snow so far in Indy, and now they've almost hit their seasonal average, and it's only early January. But it's been about 30 degrees. It's a heavy, wet snow that has knocked down trees on power lines, and about 35,000 customers are without power tonight. That is not good when the polar vortex is coming into the lower 48. That vortex is a big blob of bitter air from the North Pole, the coldest on the continent. That's going to send temperatures here tomorrow morning down to 15 below zero. 50 degrees colder than they were this morning. Wind chills 70 degrees colder on Monday than they were this morning. And Carl, you could get frostbite tomorrow in as easily as 5 minutes. Just about everything here tomorrow has thrown in the towel, schools and government offices. We'll be out here, and you betcha we'll have more layers than we have on now.
We know
Carl?
you will. Mike Seidel in Indianapolis. Mike, thanks. NBC's Al Roker is tracking this storm tonight. So, Al, what can we expect over the next few days?
Well, Carl, we're not going to see any relief until around Thursday. As you can see, Mike Seidel is going to be in the snow for a while longer in Indianapolis, and we're seeing ice now starting to form central New York, central Pennsylvania. Here's what we've got as far as snowfall totals. Another 3 to 6 inches from Indianapolis into Detroit on into the eastern Great Lakes. Some areas 9 to 12 inches. And ice, dangerous ice, anywhere from 1/10 of an inch to up to 1/2 an inch in central New England. Here's what's going on. We right now have this polar vortex. This is brutally cold air from the center part of the Arctic. It has now broken loose. Think of this as an Arctic hurricane. The winds in a counterclockwise direction, pushing that brutally cold air all the way as far south as Florida. In fact, 30 states are under winter weather advisories. They're under wind chill warnings, wind chill advisories, wind chill watches from the Dakotas all the way down to Texas and Florida. Chicago, by early tomorrow morning, it'll feel like 43 below. In fact, Chicago schools are now closed for tomorrow. Tulsa, 11 below. Feel like 11 below in Cincinnati. During the day, it will only get up to 18 below in Minneapolis. It'll feel like 43 below. And then on Tuesday morning, look at this. The big chill hits the East Coast. 16 below in New York. Feel like 15 below in Washington, 8 below in Raleigh. The good news, Carl, there is a break coming. Finally, later this week, the polar vortex will head to the north. It will release its grip on the country, and then warmer zonal winds will come in from the west and bring in more milder temperatures. We'll update you tomorrow morning from this very studio at 5 a.m. on Wake Up with Al, and then at Studio 1A on Today at 7. Carl?
We'll see you then, Al. Thanks so much.